I haven't been in Thailand for long, but I've already had some of the most intense training sessions of my life. Back again. And I've got my most unique session yet coming up with Kru Korn. We head up the stairs and into the ring, where I can only assume that the next hour of my life is going to be as difficult as the last week has been. I'm dying. One down, one to go. I know today I'm going to be learning some of the more spiritual side of Muay Thai, like the Muay Kru. But Kru Korn has me start off with the basics, something I'll never ever turn down. Kru Korn immediately improves the position of my backside hand, closing the gap defensively. Adjusts the rotation of my lead foot, giving me more extension, the bend of my elbow, allowing for a bit more impact, and the angle of my head, protecting my chin and looking down my sights. But training isn't all we're going to do today. Let me run you through the game plan. One, I want to indulge in a bit more of Thai culture through Buddhist temples before we leave. Up next, I want to check out Patong Beach, one of the more popular and interesting nightlife scenes in Phuket. And while we're there, we'll head to Patong Boxing Stadium to finally watch some Muay Thai fights. I could not be more excited about how this day is going to go. Coming from a karate background, the knees and elbows are something I don't throw as regularly as punches and kicks. It's been one of my favorite aspects of Muay Thai training this week. And specifically tying multiple elbows together into sequences. Which means balance, structure, and fluidity had never been more important than right now. But listen, as I'm sure you guys know, I'm not just here to train, which is why we also packed in the car and shipped out to Bangalore Road. What's up? No, yeah, we made it. We're Bangalore Road. Yeah, all the travel vlogs in Phuket come to Bangalore Road. They say to come here. It's interesting. I don't know if it's my cup of tea. It's like a nightclub meets outside, meets people asking if you want to come into a strip club every like 10 seconds or so. It's you know, I'm probably gonna have to blur a lot of this. We went to a place called Kangaroo Bar though. That was pretty chill. It was hopping even. Sorry. They even had like an America simulator, like a BB gun version. That was something.
Places like Disneyland, if Mickey Mouse is a big old pervert.
After we escaped Bangalore Road, we headed to a night market, then to a mall that looks like it was built in the 3000s, no Jonas Brothers. Got a quick snack while we were there, and prepared to finally watch some Muay Thai fights.
Patong Boxing Stadium. We've got our tickets. Let's go have some fun.
The man ushered us to our seats, and I could not have been happier about just where they were.
We are like literally right next to the fight. 3 rows away. This is gonna be awesome. I'm pumped.
I wanted this to be the finale of my time here, to be training in something and then get an opportunity to watch it happen at a high level. What an experience. As the event started though, the first 2 fighters came out and they started to walk around the outside of the boxing ring. This is called the Muay Kru Ram Muay, and it's going to be one of the things I'm learning at the private lesson today. The Muay Kru Ram Muay is a pre-fight ceremony that starts with both fighters circling the ring with one hand on the rope, bowing in each corner. This is thought to seal the ring and protect the fighter from negative energy. Then the Muay Kru begins. Here the fighters kneel, bow, and perform the Y gesture 3 times. Y means to pay respect. Kru is the Sanskrit word for guru, which means a master or a teacher. This is a tradition where the fighters pay respect to their teachers, to their country, and to their family.
Straight.
The Y crew makes up the first portion. From there, it will turn into the Ram Muay. And don't get me wrong, this is beautiful. It's incredibly difficult too. And in my experience, quite cramp-inducing. Yeah, that's not in the pre-fight ritual, ideally. So, within the Y crew Ram Muay, Ram means dance, and Muay means boxing. So altogether, the Y crew Ram Muay is translated as the dance of the fighters paying respect to their teachers. Different Muay Thai gyms may teach different versions of this ritual. It's an interesting opportunity for each fighter to show off their own unique perspective, but also give respect to the people who came before them, a tradition that is enormous in Thai culture. Kru Korn taught me some different variations of each part of the Ram Muay. I don't know the exact names of everything, and I don't know what the symbolism is for each one. There's some that you get a pretty good idea from just by watching.
1, 2, 3, go!
If you guys want the unedited version of all 4 of these sessions I had in Thailand, make sure you become a member down below. It's only $2.99 a month for the Yellow Belt subscription, which gets you access. Next week, I'm going to put out one big, long version of all 4 of these sessions that you guys can scrub through. It's not every day you get to learn something like this, but it was amazing to get an even deeper understanding of Muay Thai than I ever thought I would from this trip. As times become more modernized, though, practices like this become less and less frequent, especially during events where people want to see fights. Luckily, there's people like Kru Korn still teaching it, and some events even incentivizing doing the pre-fight ritual.
Yeah, do not fight through him and money.
Wow. This is obviously only the prelude to these fights, though. The nature of these Muay Thai fights typically start pretty calm. On a local circuit like this, these guys are fighting frequently, which means they might not have gotten much time to game plan for each opponent. A lot of that happens in this first round. Their pace is matched by the music. This is called Sarama. Some of these fights were only 3 rounds though, so the feeling out didn't happen for long. The flute player at the head of the band continues to match the speed and aggressiveness of the fighters. The harder they go, the faster the music goes, until eventually the fight ends, either via decision or knockout. The winning fighter will go on to celebrate as respectfully as they can, and the next fight begins. Depending on the style of the fighters, you may end up with more of a chess match than an all-out war. Sometimes you get a perfect mix of the two like this one. Every strike landed gets an ooh and an ah from the crowd, trying to sway the judge in the favor of the fighter they want to win. No fan, though, is as loud as the person's own corner, both giving advice and convince the judges. Until close to the end of the fight, every strike matters, tensions are high, and eventually, a winner is crowned.
That was a good ass fight. That was a great fight. This one really could go either way. I'm gonna guess red.
There's nothing like sitting front row and seeing somebody's dreams be dashed. At least for now. But the duality of sport is for every person who doesn't win a championship. There's one person who does. What a cool moment to watch. And then again, another Y crew Ram Muay begins. This one looks a little bit better than mine, obviously.
Isn't he supposed to be cramping halfway through?
Which should make sense. This was one of the most action-packed fights of the night. 2 high-class strikers exchanging offense and defense. Narrowly avoiding disaster until eventually something was bound to give. Unfortunately, I didn't get that on camera, and I cannot find it anywhere, but it was one of the nastiest knockouts I've seen in person. One thing this fight didn't have as much of, though, is one of the staples of Muay Thai, the clinch. For a lot of fighters, it makes or breaks their performance. And it was going to be the last topic that Kru Korn would be teaching.
Step forward, left knee, inside, hand and go.
The Muay Thai clinch is a beautiful example of how you can control and punish a person. Kru Korn here is teaching me how to go from a sharp knee to an all-encompassing defense. A posture and position keeping them from kneeing me back, and then going from there, breaking the posture and getting a rotation and another knee behind it. It's like he knew this was my weakness. Kru Korn read me like a book. Like a children's book. I know some of these words. Actually, I know all of these words because I wrote this book. This video is brought to you by me. I'm trying to read right now. If you didn't know already, I released a children's book. I wrote this book, and honestly, I'm super proud of it. This is probably like 2 months worth of work, and I think it turned out awesome. It is a story from the perspective of a pair of boxing gloves that achieve greatness. And for the time being, they are currently being signed. So I'm signing this front page right here. I put a little note in there. I put Sensei Seth right in the corner. I don't know if you want that kind of thing. I guess if you don't want one, just put it in the notes that you don't want me to sign it, and I'll just cry a little bit. I think these will be a sick Christmas gift. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Now back to, what was I doing again? The clinch is a dangerous position to be in because you're the closest you've ever been to getting elbowed or kneed in the head. But because of that close proximity, things like foot sweeps are readily available. The swimming or pummeling of arms is an intricacy. You want to gain a position, but you don't want to give up anything along the way. Until you've played around with this concept while elbows are being thrown, you don't know how scary it really is. And that's not all. The positions that you can be put in while in the clinch, having a forehead driven into your chin bone while hands pull you into it. This position sucks, and then just when you think it couldn't suck worse, you get kneed in the body by the sharpest knee on planet Earth. Because Kru Korn had me go through this session without any pads or mitts, I was able to focus as much as I could on details. This was a session that, after all the sweating I've done, it's much appreciated. Do you do that in the middle, on the road? It's right here. Oh, okay.
Forward better, have little bit better. Forward too much, not back too much. Same balance, you know.
Kru Korn essentially confirms that most clinch work happens on the ringside, although not to be too eager to make it happen, to be more balanced in the footwork and the pressure.
And if fight not happen 1 and 2, right? Combo, boom, you see, right. And you punch, you not in too much power, you know. Right. Have snap, boom, have and go here, right? Boom, boom, yeah, have and.
That was it. Oh, how fun. It's fun to get like little intricacy details like that. Plus combinations and techniques. That was great. That was so fun.
But the fights weren't over yet at Patong Boxing Stadium, and the 5th fight of the night would surely shape up to be a barn burner. This was a battle of 2 pressure fighters, each throwing haymakers at every opportunity available. Drained by the time the round would end, they would become soaked in water and ice, and then sent back out to try and knock the monsoon off of the other person. By the end of the 5th round, you could tell both fighters had given everything they had. Any small victory was bound to be the one that pushed that fighter over the edge on the scorecards. Fights like these are exactly what I wanted to come see. But it was the last fight that opened up my eyes to what the game of Muay Thai is. The first 3 rounds have been slightly neutral. You could argue that Red had won most of them with a pretty dominant clinch position, and usually landing the last shot on exchanges. However, blue was probably having the better moments. But as each fighter thought they were winning the fight late in the rounds, they would begin to amplify the crowd. I mentioned this before, that there was a bit of showmanship to maybe try and sway the judges. But going into the 5th round, this was at the highest level I've ever seen. I'm assuming the two fighters both thought that they were outright winning these fights, because after an exchange or two, they would immediately start to pick their hands up again, showing that they are clearly dominating. Every exchange ended with a proof of victory, until eventually, with 1 minute left in the fight, it became nearly entirely crowd work. The blue fighter seemed to be pushing this a bit more than the red. I would say he was probably down in the scorecards, but it's very possible that this wins him the fight, getting the better of a couple exchanges and then ending the fight on those notes. And both seemingly kind of just agreed to wait the last minute out. And with Muay Thai in Thailand, it's not judged on an individual round basis. How it ends is taken into account more than how it starts. So I'm not quite sure how to feel on this one. I was pretty confident in red, but that's based on a scoring system that I'm familiar with.
I think red.
But it was red nonetheless, and that fight was one of the 6 fantastic fights that all happened. Not a sleeper in the entire night. If you're in Thailand, I would recommend going to fights. It's the best.
That was incredible. The energy was through the roof. You could tell the priority of what strikes meant the most to people and how the energy shifted even within the fight from one fighter to the other. It was very fun to watch. I'm so glad that we went. Makes me want to spar or something. I don't want to fight. I don't want to get hit in the head. Oh no, something just fell. Yeah, every time I watch fights, it's like a 50-50 on it makes me want to fight, but also the other half is I watch someone get the brake speed off them, and I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'll lead my cushy little YouTube life.
The next day, we would go to the temples at Wat Chalong, and it kind of just allowed me to reflect on what a fantastic trip this has been. Every single day here was such a blast. I was only able to train for maybe 4 days that I was here, and I was beat up for most of it, but still, it was one of the best experiences I've had in life. If I ever do come back, I'm gonna try and spar a bit more, but I do think I've learned a lot while I was here. With Trainer Gay, I learned that I can push myself even further than I ever expected. With Pai Dang, I learned that weaknesses are only weak if you don't work on them. To create a game for yourself that is full. With Ajahn Wat, I learned that having a steel body will help me later in life, but also training in a way that's enjoyable and fun leads to some of the best training I've ever had. And with Kru Korn, it's important to slow down, to remember what's important, and to find balance in how you train. I think more than anything, I'm just so excited to look back on this years from now and have all of this footage that I can watch through and remember this trip. I'm getting like a little teary-eyed just talking about it. Thank you guys for watching this. I know this is a little different than my usual content, but I just have had the best time filming and editing all of this. The food was fantastic, the locations were amazing, the training was the best. Honestly, I wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for you guys. So thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me.
I think this one might be my favorite temple so far. Are you allowed to have a favorite temple? I think so.
Oh geez, I just forgot. There's 2 more snack recaps.
This is called Full Fish. This is the chicken barbecue flavor. I bought this one to the wife's chagrin. But it is ziplockable. Okay, so it's got a seal for if it just smells like fish and it doesn't want to stink up the room. This is what we're looking at right now. Little stringy strings down the hatch.
They can't all be winners, you know? That goes right in the trash. 2. It's so soggy. It's just so much soggier than I thought it was going to be. For our last installment of Rate That Wacky Snack, Spicy Lobster Lays. It's a subtle flavor. But it is quite nice. What I want to know is, where's that lobster from if he's so spicy? As far as Lay's potato chips go, it's on the higher end. It's up there with the Pizza Lay's flavoring. That's pretty good. I'll give that a 9. 9's too high. I'll give it an 8. Doesn't taste like a spicy lobster. A little spicy, but no Larrys have been harmed in the making of this. You haven't even liked yet.